Today we're going to talk all about C-section, what to expect, what's the recovery like. So don't feel shy, ask questions. And I think the discussion is going to be about, is it all that fearful to go into a C-section and give birth via C-section? Is it all that painful, or is it all that long to recover? How is it like? So here it goes. Let's invite Sasha into the session. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Sasha. Hello, Sasha. Hello.
Finally, I get to see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So where's your beautiful baby girl?
This is my mom. My mom kidnapped her from me.
Yeah, so Sasha, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? I see people joining in already. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thanks for joining. Come on, a bit more.
Yeah, a little bit more. Come on. So today, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about C-section, okay? Particularly for mommies out there who are expecting to deliver via C-section. This is going to be a good session because Sasha and I are going to share all about our experience. I gave birth to 2 babies via C-section, and Sasha is a new mommy who just gave birth by C-section. So we both have the experience to answer most of your questions. We're not doctors, but we're here as mommies sharing the
More of the
experience.
experience of it.
Yeah. Okay. So Sasha, go ahead. Let's hear it from you. A little bit about yourself.
Hi. Okay, so as you all have seen in my profile, my name is Natasha Rosa Budil. Okay, I just turned being a mom recently in April.
Congratulations.
So I believe, thank you. So I believe those of you who have been following me would know that I gave birth to my little cute little baby named Zaylene Rosa, who is now currently
That's a nice name.
my mom. Yeah, because we were thinking of what names that we want to give to Zaylene.
Yeah.
Previously, because Islan has 3 kids previously, right? So all of them has the Z. So we wanted to maintain the Z in the children. So we went through some names, and I was like, okay, this is a very interesting and not usual name. So I went with that.
Ah, I love the name Zaylene. Very very classy, you know?
Very different, right?
Yeah, different.
I don't think I've ever met or heard anyone named Zaylene.
Yeah, I mean, there is like Zuli or Zaylene is different and it's a very pretty name. So yeah, she's a very cute baby. Yeah.
Yes.
So Sasha, a little bit about your background. Where are you from?
I'm from KL, born and raised in KL. So my dad is a Eurasian, my mom is Filipino.
Ah, so no wonder the very fancy surname. Very pretty name you have.
Yes, but I have to like tell the story one by one, and then slowly people get to understand.
Ah, okay. All right, so let's jump straight in to the list of questions that I have for you today. Hang on. Okay. So Sasha, when you got pregnant, right? Do you want to share the story? How did you find out that you're pregnant, and how did you share this to Islan?
Okay, actually the first initial plan, it is not because of the COVID situation. So we decided that after we got married, we actually would like to go traveling and go for, spend 1 year together as a new married couple. And then COVID happened. And then, at the beginning of COVID, none of us knew what was COVID like and how bad it was or anything. So we decided to put it on hold for a while to have a baby. So then, when we started seeing the cases in Malaysia go down, we're like, okay, we're going there. Like, we can have a child.
Yeah.
So we actually planned to have a baby. As soon as I was pregnant, and then the cases went zoop.
I think a lot of them went through that. They're like, okay, cases are all right. Let's start trying now and then.
Yeah. And then, as usual, I missed my period. So I was like, okay, I guess this is it. Then I'm pregnant. So I was working morning, a morning shift on that particular day. So I actually took the test in the morning, like early in the morning. So I took the test and I knew I was already pregnant, but I just kept it. I kept it all the way until the night. So when Islam came back from work, I was like, ta-da!
He must
He
have
was
been
like, huh?
thrilled.
Yeah, he was like, he looked, at first he looked confused. He was like, what's that? I was like, I said, ta-da!
It's a
So that's
positive.
my life. Yeah,
The only positive we need these days. Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So, as you were going through the pregnancy, how did you make your birth choice? Like, whether you wanted to go through vaginal birth or C-section, what was the plan?
The original plan is to have a normal birth.
Mm.
That was all the way the plan, all the way until the day that I was going to deliver.
Okay. So what happened?
So I went in on the cause Zilin was born on the 13th of April. So I went into the hospital on the 9th of 11th.
Okay.
So we were planning to actually give birth to her actually on the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was induced and all that, but there was no response. So then they dragged out to the 12th and then they carried on until the 13th. So when we reached on the 13th, so my doctor was like, okay, I'm gonna deliver you today. So on the 13th. So I was like, okay. So then they checked the heartbeat and everything was fine. Then when I was being pushed into the labor room, then my doctor said, okay, I'm gonna burst your water. So let's see if it's clear. So then we are ready for a normal birth. They said if it's not clear, then it's plan B.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. So when he burst the water, so him and the nurse was looking at each other. I was like, why? Is it not clear? Then he was like,
Oh no. So what
yeah,
happened?
and she pooped inside.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
so then he said, well, if you would like a second opinion, so he called in the have a look. So she looked at me and like, hello, okay,
Yeah, it was lagging for a bit. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so she called the head nurse to come in, and then the head nurse came in, and then she looked at me and she was like that, and then he called one of the high upper doctors to come in, and the doctor looked at me. He was like that.
It's time for that
Yeah, and I
emergency
was like,
C-sec.
yeah. So I was like, okay. I said, I'm already here. What can I do? I can't go against you. It's not my expertise. So of course, you as a doctor, that is your expertise. So I said, whatever you say, I'll go with it.
Mhm.
That's what happened.
Yeah, I think emergency C-sec is pretty common, mommies out there. So I went through it myself. So similar to your story, with my firstborn,
Mhm.
I had to go through the whole contractions for a good 48 hours. My water burst, and then I was supposed to go through normal. I was dilating and I was pushing for many, many, many hours. And then after 48 hours, the doctor told me, look, it's either I change you to a different doctor or we go through this emergency C-sec because things are not looking good. And at that time, I thought, okay,
Mhm.
I need to go through vaginal birth because everyone is telling you vaginal birth is the way, it's the way you recover
Yeah.
fast and all that, Then I was like, oh my God, I have to go through the C-section. I'm not going to go through more of these contractions. And I was so bloated because I was trying to push. I'm sure you felt that after being induced, bloating, And
Yeah,
then
but I was only in pain for a while.
just for a while. Oh, okay, okay.
Yes.
Oh my God, I went through it for like hours. I was dying in there. I was like, oh my God, it's so
Oh
painful.
no,
Like, give me
God.
whatever. Yeah. And then I got wheeled into C-section. And I think because of that trauma, I always had this preconceived ideas like, oh my God, C-section is so scary. But I think I
Mhm.
didn't speak to people enough to know that C-section is not actually that scary. So that goes to my next question for you. Can C-section be a personal choice, or C-sec is only something advised by the doctor or only applicable during emergencies? What do you think?
Uh, I believe that it's actually up to you because for me, I wanted to go through normal. Same as you. I didn't. People were telling me about C-sec, about how it's going to take so long to recover. You won't be able to do this. You won't be able to do that, and then a lot of things. So I was like, okay, so normal is the way to go. So when the doctor told me I had to go through C-sec,
Oh, you are lagging.
oh my, okay,
Okay. All right.
yeah. So where was I? Before I lagged.
Yeah, when the doctor told you that you needed to go through C-sec.
Yeah, so when the doctor told me I need to go to C-sec, so I was stunned. And then I had no emotions. I didn't know what to feel scared. I didn't know what to feel happy or nervous or scared. I was blank. And at that particular time, Islan was not with me.
Oh no, you must have been.
Yeah, he went home for a while to feed the cat because we have cats at home. So he was going to come back. So he was actually on the way back to the hospital. And then I had to call him. I was like, "Where are you?" And then he's like, "I'm nearby." I said, "Doctor saying I need to go for a C-sec," and he was like, "Oh no."
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
think that's
we
the
were not
common
prepared for
fear.
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
I think that's the common fear.
I know that some people they do plan already to have a C-sec, so I guess they are a bit more well prepared emotionally and mentally as compared to us who went through like emergency C-sec. Because for me, I didn't have any emotions. I didn't know what to think or what to do.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think that happens in an emergency C-sec. So that's why I think many moms that go through emergency C-sec, they tend to get stunned or they don't know what to expect. They get scared and all kinds of emotions start coming. Yes, you're right. It can be a personal choice. Like for me, for my second baby, I chose to go through a C-sec. I wanted it planned. I wanted it on the 19th. I wanted it on a Sunday morning. I wanted music. I wanted everything planned because I'm the sort that doesn't like not knowing what to expect. So
True,
for
true.
that reason, yeah, that was a personal choice. So mommies out there, if you feel that a C-sec is only for an emergency case, not all the time. It is also your personal choice whether you want to go through a C-sec or a vaginal birth. It is up to you. It's not always something that's advised by the doctor or an emergency. So,
Yeah.
Sasha, what was the process like? The moment you found out that emotion kicked in, what was the process? What's the next thing that the doctor did for you?
You mean after he told me I was going to get a C-sec?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything happened really fast, so I had to wait for Islan to come in because and then because he already induced me, but it wasn't opening as well. I was only at 3 cm at a particular point. So since she already pooped, so the doctor said that we can't wait for me to open up until I'm about 8 or 9 because then it would be dangerous for the baby.
Yeah.
If at the particular time I was already open at 8 or 9, so they could actually wait about 1 hour to do a normal birth. But because I was only at 3 cm, so then he decided to do a C-sec. Then I had to wait for Islan to come in. So Islan came in, and then doctor spoke to him and all this kind of thing. And then we were like, okay. So they wheeled me in. Islan didn't follow me into the operating room because of the COVID situation.
Yeah.
So they don't allow the husbands to go in. Only can wait at the door.
Right.
So he was waiting outside. Everything just happened really fast, and I was very sleepy actually. I was very sleepy, and then so from the door, I had contractions. So I had to like tell them to like hold on for a while, and then they brought me into the operating room. And my experience was, I'm sure those who go through C-sec would feel it as well. The operating room is extremely cold, and
Yes.
I'm not a person. I'm not fond of coldness. I'm not. So when I went in, I straight away looked at the nurse. I was like, "Why is it so cold?"
Yeah.
And then she's like, "No, you have to be cold." And then and then she just sat me down, and then she hugged me because then I had to be given the what's it called again?
Epidural. Epidural.
Yeah. Is it epidural? No, I think it was the one that numbs you.
It's the
What's the thing called
epidural.
again?
It's epidural. Yeah.
Yeah, so then I just sat down and I was shivering. All I remember was shivering and shivering and shivering, and I can feel needles going to me, and then they lay me down, and yeah, then everything just went through.
Yeah, that's right. So the moment they reel you in, they start to prep you for it, right? The whole, okay, I'm gonna start the process. I'm gonna poke your spine. So there's a needle that pokes through your spine, and then the epidural goes through. Half of your body becomes numb, and then they will start coming with the jarum, with the needle to say, hey, can you feel it or can you not? So you can't feel any pain, but you feel pressure. It's such a weird
Yes.
feeling, right?
Yeah, they say you won't feel pain, but you can feel it pressing on your skin. I was like, huh?
Yeah. It's such a unique situation. It's like I don't feel pain, but I feel pressure. So I think
I feel you.
yes, I feel new. It's like, what's this? Yeah, and you're right. It's so cold. I was shivering. I was literally like that.
Yes, and then they had this tube because I couldn't see. So they had one tube on my right arm was hot wind. I think it's the hot blanket, and then this hand of mine was out of the blanket. So this was freezing cold, and this was hot. So you can imagine I was like a frog, like.
I know it's a very awkward situation, that bit. Yeah, and you were half awake.
I was half awake, yes.
Yeah, they usually encourage moms to be half awake during a C-sec. Also because, you can receive your baby just right after. So did they have, did you go through skin to skin the moment your baby came out?
No.
Okay. So it's slightly different.
Because, all I remember is that I knew that I was being cut open because I could smell like a burn. I was like, okay, that's the process of cutting it, okay. And then there was a nurse that was sitting above me, and then she was like, okay, we're going to take your baby out now. I was like, okay. And then my doctor looked at me, I'm going to take out your baby now. I was like, okay. And then the nurse from above me, she pushed my tummy, and the next thing I heard was, wah! Yeah. And then they were like, look to the right, look to the right, look to the right. I was like, okay. I looked to the right, and then she was like, there. And I was like, oh, okay, no. I was so sleepy.
I know, that's so true. I thought I was the only one that way because when my baby, Raul especially, because he was the one that I had to push for 48 hours, when he came out, and my husband was beside me because at that time it was not COVID again. So he was beside me, and he's like, look, our firstborn, our baby boy. And I was just like, take him away, take him away. I was so tired. I was like, sleep.
The thing is, because you went through 48 hours of, trying to give birth. Mine was, I was really sleepy because I didn't have a good sleep for the past 2 nights that I was there. Because the nurse would come in at night and check the heartbeat, and then they would do drips on me, and then they would so my sleep was disturbed. I'm not blaming them. It is their job, but that is what happened to me. I became sleepy eventually when I went into labor for my C-sec.
I think a lot of mothers go through that. They're too tired, they're sleepy, they're hungry, all kinds of things. So like before a C-sec, you can't eat or drink anything for a while, just water.
Yeah.
So I think the preparation of C-sec is more of mental preparation, because the body is, of course, ready to go through it. I mean, you're ready for birth, and it's time for baby to come out. But it's the mental aspect of birth that you need to prepare, and whether it's a vaginal birth or a C-section, it's the same. You need to mentally prepare, right? Yeah. And what was did breastfeeding come naturally to you right after C-sec, or did you have to adapt to breastfeeding? How was the support around you when it came to breastfeeding?
For me, because they mentioned it was my first baby, and also because I went through C-sec, so the milk came slightly later. It wasn't right after giving birth. They said it's normal for C-sec that it takes a delay of a few days. But they taught me how to breastfeed and lock the baby in, and then just to make sure that when she sucks, so at least it will help to motivate the milk to come out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, simulate. Oh my gosh, the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, help simulate. So then, eventually, then I went into when I went for pantang. Then my confinement lady, the CL, she helped to urut. Yeah, they have their way of uruting for the milk to come out. So it was okay.
Yeah. Did you go through the whole pantang?
Yes, I went through 28 days because they have different days, right? So I was first on 21 days. That was given if I was going to give birth normal. So we picked 21 days, and since I went through C-sec, so the first week we can't do anything, right? So then she helped me a lot in terms of taking care of Zayleen, where after C-sec I can't move. You know, you're on the bed, you're just lying on the bed at night. I can't get up and feed her. So even Zayleen slept with my confinement lady throughout the whole pantang because I couldn't respond to her that fast.
Yeah.
And then I extended from 21 days, I extended to 28 days.
Right. So what was one of the first few things that the nurse came to tell you after your C-sec? I mean, what was the first thing you remember, like when you woke up, and how did the nurses make you bond with your baby, and what are some of the first things that you had to do after your C-sec?
Let me think. I don't remember. Because I was like going sleep. I was like sleeping, and I woke up, and then next thing I knew that Izan, my husband, was on the phone with my mom, and then she was talking on the phone. I was like, and then I fell back asleep, and I woke up. There was like so many sleeps. Like I was waking up and sleeping.
Yeah.
I think the nurse asked me, I said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Do you feel any pain?" I was like, "No, I don't feel any pain." And then she told me that can we have the tube for our urine and everything? So you say you can have this tube and this and that and this and that. So I say, if anything, just press the button. And I just remember asking her, I was like, "How's my baby?" They said, "Baby is fine." So I think I woke up towards the evening already, like going towards night.
Yeah.
I gave birth in the afternoon. Yeah. So about that.
Yeah, I think one of the things you face after the C-sec is that you're really sleepy, right? You're like in and out of sleep.
Yeah.
I
So
remember.
I don't even know how many times I woke up, and all I do is open my eyes, and then my husband is there talking to someone on the phone, and then I fall back asleep, and then I wake up, and then he's like, I don't remember much.
Yeah. One of the first things that the nurse will tell you to do is actually to walk. I mean, that is actually one of the tips of healing fast after C-sec, is to walk. I know it is really strange, but that is one of the first things that the hospital will tell you after they've taken out the tubes, and you start to really, you start to heal, and then you need to remember how to pee. I think that part where you need to remember how to pee is the hardest. It is the most stressful part, because how can you forget how to pee?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember they disturbed me only the next day when they came, and then they took off everything, and then they're like, okay. I didn't even know that that I had feeling to go to urinate, because first they had the bag, right? And then they were like, okay, if you're okay today, yeah, I need to pee 3 times, something like that. I said, you need to pee 3 times, and if you finish the third one, then you can go home. I was like, did I just go through a C-sec? Like, I'm like the next day being discharged. I said, yeah, you just have to pee 3 times, and then you can leave. I was like, okay, and how do I get up? And then they were like, you slowly move. So they assisted me the first time for me to get up. So then I moved a bit, and then I got up very slowly. And they had to hold my hand so that I see how is it that your feet would touch the floor. And then slowly from there, it gradually moved on and probably to the toilet.
Yeah. I think it's slowly but surely. I remember getting up very slowly. I had my mom hold me, my husband hold me, and then I had to take a walk around the hospital the first time, and then the second time, and then I stayed about 2 to 3 days, and then the third day, when everything was okay, it was time to get discharged. I was nervous because for me, it was like, oh my God, how am I going to handle my baby when I'm in so much pain, right? I think that's one of the things about CSEC is to make sure you have your support system sorted so that
Yeah.
you don't get overwhelmed when you get back home and you don't know how to handle the baby while you are in pain. But for me, I really had to do a lot of it because I'm the sort that is very difficult to stay still. But I must say, my husband was a champion when it comes to feeding the kids at night and what's that, changing the diapers. So he really helped me out because another tip about C-section is that the more you sleep, the faster you heal. So
Is
sleep
it?
is, yes, sleep is super important when you've had a C-sec, although it is really hard to sleep when you've just had a baby, right? But if you
Yeah.
can, take all the help that you can get because sleep heals your body.
I I didn't remember sleeping that much.
Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
really hard to sleep.
Yeah, no, because when I went, I'm same as you. I can't stay in one place for a very long time. So I wasn't like very much in pain as compared to what my friend told me. She said that she went through an emergency C-sec as well, and she said when she went home, she had very bad pain. It felt like knives were poking on her stomach.
Oh, poor girl.
Yeah, yeah. I said, why did you go through that? I was fine. I didn't go through that.
Yeah,
Oh, and
neither.
I remember that I had to do like all those injections on my legs. Oh my gosh, to prevent the blood clot.
Yeah, 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 that's right. I had to wear those compression socks. It was really awful. Oh,
When
I
I
felt
do
so
the
wicked.
injection by myself,
Oh
10 injections
gosh.
by myself.
Oh my God. Yeah, the things that a
Yeah,
mom has to
that was
go
like
through.
he said, nurse, like you have to do this, you have to do that. I was like, huh? I have to choke myself. He's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah. I think there are different ways to counter the whole blood clot bit. It is a real threat, to mothers out there when you do C-sec. Um, having a blood clot that goes to your lungs or to your brain, this is something that does happen. So doctors do
Yeah,
whatever necessary, precautions to make sure this doesn't happen. It's not often, but it can happen. So there are some ways that hospitals, how to say, have precautions on this, is compression socks, injections to make sure that the blood clot doesn't go to any part of your body, or if they don't form at all, basically.
yeah. And then they give me something to like a sachet to put in the water and drink so that my stools were not hard, so you don't need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
force it out. Yeah, I
yeah.
think that was important. Some of my friends didn't get it as well, so I was quite surprised that after I gave birth, I found out some of my friends thinks that what they went through and their medication was different from mine. So I was thankful that I got all the help from my doctor that I needed.
That's great. I think it's really important to pick the right doctor that you're comfortable with and do your research as to, C-section and vaginal birth are very different. Like, my
Yeah,
doctor is, how to say, a pro at both, maybe, but I think she also knows, she's a really experienced doctor. And you're right, I did not feel that much pain for a long time. And a lot of people do complain about their stitches feeling like knives poking to the on them, and
yeah,
a lot of people complain that, but I didn't go through that. The only pain that I felt was soreness.
yes.
Yeah.
And because like my doctor told me that I had a very big nerve on my right side. So he said I was bleeding a lot when he did the C-sec for me. So I felt a lot of pain, when it's called pain soreness towards on my right side. So when I walk, I really had to hold my stomach and walk.
Yep, yep. I think that comes to the importance of having a bengkong after a C-section. So a lot of people say that, oh, don't bengkong. It's not good for you, but that's not true. Actually, you need a bengkong in order to have that compression so
In
that you
place.
can walk. Yes, to hold your stomach because
Mm.
your stitches can move if you are not careful. And going up and down the stairs, things like that, you cannot do. Wear your bengkong if you had a C-section. I wore it as soon as I got out.
I was scared at first because yes, as what people were saying, you know, that there's not much ventilation and things like that. So whatever that I needed to do in terms of pantang, physically, like urut, with the bengkong, with tungku, all those kind of things, I waited for 1 week. I told my conformer lady, I give you 1 week to just leave me alone. You
Yeah,
just feed me and take care of me and take care of my baby. Just do that. So so after 1 week, then we slowly started the treatments in terms of first we did the tungku, and then she urut me as well, but was only towards my legs and my back, my shoulders, not much of my body yet. So then we gradually moved up after a while, depending on the pain that you feel as well.
That's true. And I think your body is more sensitive, especially after you give birth. It's you're undergoing more pain and more sensitivity. And most important is do not urut the wound area or even around the stomach for the first few months. It's like a big no-no because you never know, your stitches could rupture. So yeah. One of the things that after C-section, right, you cannot shower. Not to say cannot, but it's really discouraged from showering because you cannot get your wound wet, right? How did you deal with that?
Okay, for me I found it funny because after I gave birth, I was discharged the next day. So within the next 4 days, 4 days, then I had to go back to the hospital, and they opened the bandage, sorry. So they opened the bandage, and then the nurse told me, my doctor said that, okay, your wound looks fine, so you can have a shower. And I was like, how do I take a shower? How can you forget like how to take a shower? And then they were laughing, like, they shower like normal. I was like, how am I supposed to shower normal with this? So they shower like normal, and then I said, nurse, so I can put soap. She said, yeah, you can put soap, you can shower like normal. And I was like, I was just stunned for a while, like, I can do that.
Yes. Yeah. I know a lot of things, it gets really hard to go back to normal because you feel like, oh my God, I've not taken a shower for a week. How do I take a shower with standing? Is it sitting? You start, all these questions come about, and that's why it's really important to have a friend with you or a peer-to-peer mommy support group, and that's why BossMama has a peer-to-peer mommy support group on Telegram. If you're not on our Telegram, click the link in our bio and join our Telegram, and we are there to support you. Yeah, you see, Sasha's joined our group. So if you're watching this live session, make sure you join our Telegram group. All the mommies out there are so supportive, and there's all kinds of birth choices, and mommies that go through different kinds of birth choices. So you can always ask their opinion, ask help from other mommies. And it's really important when you give birth, you have the support group, including your family. There's also like friends and family, the extended friends and other support groups that can understand you. Sometimes your own family may not understand what you're going through.
Yes, it's a lot of emotional support actually.
Yes, that's right. Emotions play a huge part after giving birth.
Yeah, because some like us, we prepared differently. We prepared for normal, and then we ended up with C-sec. Some people, they make the choices themselves. Some are even pressured to not even go to a C-sec. Like, whatever happens, don't go into C-sec. Some are pressured into such a way that even if they go through C-sec, they feel like the family or their, whoever's close to them is going to be angry with them. So that's not how you should feel. I believe that, take whatever you can do given at the situation. It's not easy to decide. It's giving birth to a life. So it's a very big choice.
Yeah. I know a lot of people go through that. They feel that they are less of a mother because they gave birth through C-section, and that's not true, mommies. Whether it's a C-section or it's a vaginal birth, you gave birth normally. And if somebody asks, did you give birth normal or not? Say, yeah, I gave birth normally, and it's through a C-section. How is that not normal? I gave birth.
Yeah.
So,
the baby came out.
The baby came out. I gave birth normally. Whether it's a C-section or vaginal birth, I gave birth normally. And I think it's really important to highlight to all mommies out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't pressure yourself,
that's
really.
right. Okay,
Mhm.
Sasha, is there anything that you would give? What advice would you give to daddies out there or new daddies out there?
Daddies. Okay. Be there for your mummies. The new mommy is your wife, really. Because as I know as well that after you give birth, they were going to blues. That your wife, the women were going to blues, and I my doctor told me I went through that. Yeah, so
I
after
think I
I
did
gave
too.
birth, yeah, because when I went to remove the bandage after the 4 days, uh
Yeah.
his son was not with me because he had some work to do. So my sister-in-law accompanied me, and
Mm.
uh I thought that I was tearing up because I missed him. And then my doctor just touched me on my shoulder. He was like, "Are you okay?" And I just whoosh. And he was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Why did you ask whether I was okay?" And then he's like, "No, I need to know if you're okay. I need to know if you're having the blues." And I was like, "What is blues?" And then he said, it's a feeling of, women who feels this way, new mothers who feel this way. You feel I don't know, you just you're emotionally disturbed. Are you not a good enough mother? Are you going to be a good wife? Those kind of thoughts that go through your mind. And I was like, I don't think so. I'm going through that. I said, just that probably my husband is not around with me at this particular point. And then he was like, okay, we'll see when he comes back and see if you're still having the blues. So then my next checkup after that, I think about after a week or so. So then it's done when we meet to the hospital. And then the doctor asked me, say, are you okay now? And then I was like, I'm okay. When I said okay, and then I teared again. And
Oh,
then the doctor was like, see, you see what you did to her. And then his mom was like, why are you crying? I said, I don't know, it's just coming out.
oh gosh.
And so yeah, and then so he's done asked the doctor. The doctor is actually his good friend, so he's asking, what do I do? And then the doctor said, there's no medicine, there's no cure. The cure is you. That's all. So for daddies out there, you are the cure for your wives, really.
That's so true. The daddies out there have to be very supportive and understanding to their wives, especially going through this very sensitive and how do you say gentle period. It's like you become so sensitive and
Yeah,
easily irritated. Yeah, and you don't know you feel like nothing is ever enough. Like you feel that you've become second because everyone is paying attention to your baby and you're no longer important, right? And yeah, you
yeah.
start
And
to
you're like, I'm
feel
different than that.
yeah, yeah. I think many mommies out there go through this. I went through this. I'm very sure many mommies out there would go through this, and it's not something to ignore. I
Yeah,
personally think it's not something to ignore, and it's so important to have like supportive figures around you, like your mom or your dad or your husband. I mean, friends, good friends that can really help you get through that.
yeah.
Yeah. So we have a
True.
comment. I'll never understand people who say C-section is an easy way out. Yeah, so really it's not the easy way out. I mean, the recovery part of C-section is definitely not the easy way out. What do you think, Sasha?
Mm, as we were speaking about it earlier, it's a personal choice. So those who have actually chose already to go through a CSEC, I don't know because I don't know what made them do that decision, or was it a personal choice? Was it a choice that was given to them by their family members, or as what the comment says that maybe it's just the easy way out. I have no idea because what me and Junita went through is an emergency C-sec. So if we don't do it, we would endanger one life, which is not something that we want to do. So
Yeah,
then it
for sure.
depends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through both emergency C-sec and also a choice of going through a C-sec, and both ways were not easy. the recovery period is at least a good 3 weeks before you feel okay to start going up and down the stairs. And it takes about a good 6 weeks to feel like you can go out without pain, and a good maybe 2 months before you can start exercising again. That's another thing. Exercising, you really need to get your doctor's consent or doctor's advice before you start doing exercises, because your stitches, they need to heal. That's your priority for your own self.
Yes. Yes. I remember for the first 3 weeks, I was walking with, I was bending down. And everybody was telling, no, you should stand straight, you should stand straight. Right. I was like, can you just leave me alone? Just leave me alone. I know when to stand straight and when not to stand straight. I was like, this took me some time. So eventually, when I felt confident, then I would slowly, stand straight whenever I can. But yeah, it was a bit difficult, yeah.
Yeah, I think the reason why you need to stand straight is because to keep the stitches together, right? That's why the bengkong is really important. Mommies out there, if you have a C-sec, make sure you get good bengkong with you. You have a good bengkong with you. Get the ones that are Velcro for the first 2-3 days, and then the ones that are very soft, don't have the hard, those really thick material that is really heaty, especially when you have a C-sec. You do get more like skin irritation. So yeah, I think those are some of the tips that me and Sasha could share. Is there any other tips that you would like to share, Sasha?
Let me think. I'm not sure of how everybody's wounds are. I remember my confinement lady as well. She was telling me that some ladies that she has taken care before this, their wounds actually open up, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, mine is closed and I'm feeling pain. Imagine if it opens up and what kind of pain you feel. So then she was like, yeah, you really have to take care of yourself. As they would say, don't carry heavy things. Some people, I understand, some women out there who does not have a good support system. They do not have their family with them. They only have themselves. They have to do things by themselves. Once they get discharged from the hospital, they take care of the baby themselves. They do the housework themselves, everything themselves. But please, at least do it very, 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 very slowly. Because I can't give like a life advice saying that, you can't do this and do that, because everybody's situation is different. So you just really need to be very, very careful for not the wound to open up again.
Yeah. Okay. That is for sure the priority. It does happen to some people. The wounds open up, especially if the stitches are not stitched properly, or you don't take care of yourself. You're carrying heavy things, you're going up and down the stairs, you're not holding the wound together, the stitches together. It can happen. So some of the tips that Sasha and I would share is really to make sure you have a support system ready when you give birth, whatever it may be, a CL, your mother, your sister, your husband. You need to work together to make sure that the healing process is a priority.
Yeah, and the food you eat as well. The food.
For sure. Yeah.
Yes.
I think there's always this thing about eating ikan. What the ikan?
Ikan haruan.
Yeah, I think that is probably the no when it comes to C-section, because it can cause keloids. Yes. So ikan haruan has a high amount of collagen, which is true. That is what heals the skin, right? But because it has so much collagen, it starts to build keloids around your wound. And it will heal all the skin area, but inside is not healed because it's so progressive or aggressive in healing the skin itself. So ikan haruan, I don't think it's applicable to C-sec. It is also advised to stay away from all seafood for C-sec, even eggs. For the first 3 weeks to 1 month, stay away from eggs and seafood.
Was eggs in my menu? I don't remember.
I don't think they will include eggs for C-sec because it can cause keloids. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of when we asked the doctor, like, is there any pantang that you have? And he was like, I'm fine with anything that you do. You just don't eat the pati ikan haruan. Yeah. And also all this jamu.
Yeah, jamu. So it's like, it's not really good. To take in big amounts, and consistently, it's probably not great for a C-section lady.
It's not good because we went through operation. Like we have a big wound. I think those who go through normal birth, probably that is good for them. I don't know.
Yeah,
because they say it heals faster, but not for those who go through C-sec or any kind of operation in that matter.
that's true. So
Because
ladies out
yeah,
there,
because
mommies.
it irritates the insides.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, Sasha, for coming and joining and talking to us about your experience and making this session so
Thank you.
interesting. Yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up for
Thank you
tonight.
for having me.
No problem. We're really happy to have you here. So, mommies out there, do you have any last questions? We're gonna wrap it up for tonight. Let's give the
I
floor.
was so nervous.
Don't be nervous. It's just us talking. Tak ada apa pun.
Yeah, I've never been on live, so I was like, I didn't know what to expect and things like that.
It's all right. It's all good. Okay, so we don't have any questions from the floor. So let's wrap it up. All right, Sasha, thank you so much for this session.
Thank you,
hope
Junita.
it was an informative session for all you mommies out there. And yeah, let's look forward to the next Mommy Me session.